This is First News on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF. Here's Bob Joseph.
Good morning. We'll have a cloudy day today. Some rain this morning. The high 52. A suspect has been arrested after an alleged attempted robbery at a Visions Federal Credit Union office in downtown Binghamton. Police were called to the Visions branch in the Metro Center at 49 Court Street just about 2:45 Friday afternoon for a report a woman was trying to rob the bank. As officers arrived at the credit union entrance on the Washington Street pedestrian mall, they spotted the suspect in the instant and quickly took her into custody. The woman was somewhat belligerent, yelling at officers as they placed her in handcuffs and eventually leading her to a van which transported her to the station on Hawley Street. Investigators and credit union employees on Friday were not able to talk about the matter, but on Monday afternoon, Detective Captain Corey Miner confirmed to WNBF News the woman had been arrested after she allegedly passed a note to an employee at the credit union stating she had a gun. The woman apparently, though, was unarmed. Miner said 39-year-old Ryan Lawton has been charged with attempted robbery. She has no permanent address. No injuries were reported in that incident. The credit union office was temporarily closed following that robbery attempt. We have some video as well as pictures from the immediate aftermath of that attempted robbery on our website, WNBF.com. Broome County man's proposal to tear down a house on Court Street in downtown Binghamton faces scrutiny now by a city commission. Philip Akel wants permission to demolish the two-story house across from the Phelps Mansion Museum. The building, which in recent years had been used as a law office, was acquired by FGR Realty in December for $120,000. It was constructed around 1884. Akel and his representatives appeared before the Commission on Architecture and Urban Design a few weeks ago to talk about a plan to tear down the converted residential building. The space would be turned into a parking lot. The structure stands just east of a two-story office building, also owned by the Akel family's FGR Realty. That building at Court and J once was home to Binghamton's first giant supermarket and now houses Guthrie's Binghamton Mental Health Unit. Commission member John Darrow said it seems abhorrent that the panel would even consider knocking down another residential structure in Binghamton at a time new housing projects are moving forward nearby. Darrow said, "I don't know why they want to tear something nice down." An attorney representing Akel said it's been estimated could cost more than $125,000 to make the Court Street building habitable again. Akel declined to comment on the matter when contacted by WNBF News. An iconic spot on Binghamton's east side coming back to life today, more than 4 months after a beloved business shocked loyal customers when it suddenly shut down. Pasquale's Soup and Sandwich Shop at 180 Broad Avenue is officially opening this morning. Jesus Clark, who already operates a barbecue restaurant on Shenango Street, spotted an opportunity after hearing from many customers who were disappointed when Pasquale's Deli closed last October. In December, Clark announced plans to reopen Pasquale's with some of its most popular offerings. He said he and his team wanted to continue the legacy that had been started by the Pasquale family. Clark was busy over the past several weeks with the existing Big Zeus barbecue restaurant and working to get things rolling at the sandwich and soup shop. The new shop is scheduled to operate this week from 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Clark is asking customers to be patient during the opening days as he and the new staff work out any kinks in the operation. Online ordering for pickup and delivery should become available within a few weeks. Deposit School District voters have approved 3 propositions that were on the ballot on Monday. The first proposition was for the use of a capital reserve fund for improvements to safety and security features in district buildings. That was passed 103 to 37. Second proposition to establish a new capital reserve fund passed 109 to 31. And the third proposition to permit transportation for all deposit elementary students using school vehicles passed 95 to 45. Renovations to Belmont Park are expected to pave the way for the racetrack to host the Belmont Stakes in June 2026. Governor Hochul has unveiled a construction timeline that includes the $455 million project being completed by the fall of 2026. That would allow the Breeders' Cup to return to the remade track as soon as 26, if not long after. Breeders' Cup officials, in a letter to the New York Racing Association, expressed support for the project, even while not committing to an actual year when the event could be returned to Belmont Park. Now the forecast from the National Weather Service. Cloudy today, rain mainly this morning, high 52. Mostly cloudy tonight with a chance of rain, low 46. Cloudy tomorrow, more rain, mainly in the 57. Mostly cloudy Thursday with a chance of showers in the morning, high 50. Right now in downtown Binghamton, it's 46 at 6:09. I'm Bob Joseph, WNBF News.
From the Galt Auto Studios, this is WNBF News Radio AM 1290. Also available at 92.1 FM. Shop Toyota, Chevy, BMW, and pre-owned at galtauto.com.
Welcome to Tuesday morning, and this is First News Binghamton. I'm Bob Joseph. In for Don Morgan. We have granted him one more day off because he is the employee of, I will dub him the employee of the decade. So Don Morgan has another day off. I'm here at the controls at Binghamton's First News. If you want news, we've got it for you between now and 9. This is something that is basically a utility. You turn your radio on weekday mornings and you find out what's going on with local and regional updates, national and world news from ABC, money news, health news from Dr. Sanjay Gupta, tech news from Kim Commando. We'll have some political insights coming up from ABC. We'll even have entertainment news and a few other things along the way. We're so glad to have you with us. Thank you for joining us right here on News Radio WNBF. We're proud to have been part of this community for nearly a century. When it comes to broadcasters, nobody else has been transmitting as long as we have in the Binghamton area. It's true. You could look it up. Anyway, I will have plenty of information for you this morning. Until 9, we will have Red Eye Radio between 9 and 10. And then our live local talk program, My Personal Pride and Joy, Binghamton Now. I really look forward to it every day. Today's episode is only 2 hours, so we'll provide a concentrated dose of information and even a bit of entertainment on our live talk show this morning. Instead of 3 full hours, we'll have 2 hours. We'll be on from 10 to noon, and I'll be taking as many phone calls as humanly possible. I hope you'll agree to participate. The more listener participation we have every day, the better the program is. And I have to say, really, things have started to pick up over the last few weeks with more people calling in from more places. Many of our listeners, of course, are from Broome and Tioga counties, but we have seen an upswing in the number of people who are calling in from outside New York and Pennsylvania. A lot of people are listening to Binghamton Now using the free WNBF app. Sometimes they're from Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, California, Colorado. But occasionally we even get people calling in from outside the United States. Perfectly acceptable as we extend our global reach So the talk show coming up a little bit later this morning. Again, it's First News Binghamton. Today is Tuesday, March 5th, WNBF News Time, 6:13. 6:15. It's sports time on News Radio WNBF. Just for kicks, let's take a look at some baseball scores from yesterday. Not because they're meaningful, but because I'm still fascinated that it's almost time to get set for regular season play. So the Yankees defeated Miami 3-2. Pittsburgh beat Tampa Bay 7-3. And Philadelphia lost to Toronto 5-2. So there you go. Yes, it's almost spring, and we are getting so close to baseball. Now think about it. Think about this. We're exactly a month away from the start of baseball in Binghamton. See, today is March 5th, and then Friday, April 5th at 6:35 p.m., I have a pretty clear idea of where I will be. Yes, I think I'm going to be at the stadium unless something else intervenes. But we're looking forward to the start of baseball here in Binghamton with the Rumble Ponies. And, of course, WNBF will be the home of all the Rumble Pony games this season. Hockey action last night. Ryan Lomberg scored the go-ahead goal early in the third period. Sam Reinhart scored twice, and the Panthers beat the Rangers 4-2 in New York in a matchup of first-place teams. Also in hockey last night, Flyers lost to St. Louis in a shootout, 2-1. NBA action last night. In Brooklyn, the Nets lost to Memphis 106-102. Speaking of basketball, we've got a game coming up right here on News Radio WNBF with the Bearcat men looking for their third straight win. And they're still jockeying for playoff seeding. The basketball season, the regular season for the Bearcat men, will be coming to a close tonight as the Bearcats travel to UMBC. So you'll be able to hear the entire game. And also, of course, a preview, typically, as you would expect, with Roger Neal. And the coverage begins tonight at 6:45. So stay tuned to News Radio WNBF, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM. 6:18, good morning. Coming up, we'll have some money news for you. And also, Dr. Sanjay Gupta will tell us about the negative impact of sitting. Do you sit around all day? Well, according to Dr. Sanjay Gupta, that may not be exactly the best choice for your health. Details coming up on First News Binghamton.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
So it starts recording?
6:20. Let's get our first dose of money news on this Tuesday morning from ABC's Jim Ryan.
Stocks retreated Monday from the records they set going into the weekend. The Dow Jones yesterday dipped 97 points to close at 38,989. The S&P finished lower by 0.12%, the NASDAQ composite by 0.4. Before the opening bell, Target reports its holiday quarter results and year-ahead outlook. Currently number 3 behind Walmart and Costco, Target has posted declining comparable sales for 2 quarters in a row. Precious metals traders are betting that the Federal Reserve will soon start cutting interest rates, or at least in the second half of the year. The gold contract for April gained $30.60 Monday to settle at $21.2630 per ounce, its highest ever. The Free File experiment appears to be paying off. The Internal Revenue Service says use of that program is up nearly 10% from last year. Free File lets taxpayers with an adjusted gross income under $79,000 file a free return through one of 8 IRS partners. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Thank you, James. And WNBF will bring you more money news this morning on First News Binghamton. We also will bring you business news from around the Twin Tiers on the air and on our website, WNBF.com. If you want to know about new businesses, expanding businesses, closing businesses, merging businesses, what's going on in the Binghamton area, we are your source. WNBF News Time, 6:22, coming up in 1 minute. Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
WNBF.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
We've talked a lot about the negative impacts of sitting on your health. You know it's not good for you, and while, yes, the best thing you can do is to get up and engage in some good, vigorous exercise, let me tell you about a new, really surprising study. Researchers at University College London found that by swapping 30 minutes of sitting for 30 minutes of sleeping every day, lowered people's body mass by about a pound and resulted in them losing about 2/3 of an inch from their waistline. Now, of course, this doesn't mean you can sleep your way to better health. You can't just lie in bed and watch TV. You have to actually be catching up on your sleep. That, along with eating right and exercising and getting rid of stress, as well as connecting with others, all of these are powerful ways to reduce your cardiovascular risk. And hopefully, you live longer as well. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Hi, I'm Jade, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit is the savoriness of the sausage, the fluffiness of the egg, and the butteriness of the biscuit. It's amazing. The perfect start to my day.
Hi, everyone. It's Justin. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit is the fluffy egg, the melted cheese, and the sizzling sausage. It's the start to your morning that you didn't know you need.
Order a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit and Simply Orange juice on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta with A Better Life every weekday morning right here at WNBF. See? Don't sit so much. Sleep. You could. I was just thinking. Imagine if instead of all the sitting you do in a typical day, what if you were sleeping instead? So say if you sit for about 3 or 4 hours a day in your office or in your newsroom, or just driving around, instead of sitting for those 3 or 4 hours, if you were sleeping for 3 or 4 hours, you certainly would lose some weight, I bet. 6:26 at News Radio, WNBF, coming up later today on WNBF. From noon to 3, Dan Bongino, and from 3 to 6, Sean Hannity. Always a lot to talk about and plenty to think about with News Radio, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com. Coming right up, entertainment news.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
ABC Entertainment News.
Some of the biggest names in Hollywood getting ready for the Oscars, and that includes first-time nominee Sterling K. Brown. He's up for Best Supporting Actor for his role as the chaotic brother in American Fiction. And he tells me when it comes to who's going with him Sunday night, there's no chaos.
It's going to be the wife. Now, there have been people who have asked. There's lots of friends from childhood who think that they should get to go. And they have a strong argument. But I don't have to sleep with them.
You can catch him and all the other nominees Sunday night on ABC. The show this year starting an hour earlier than usual. We have a date, sort of, for the season 2 premiere of the Game of Thrones spinoff, House of the Dragon. Warner Brothers Discovery exec says we'll see it in June, according to reports. Break out the red bathing suits. Baywatch is swimming back to TV. A reboot of the popular 90s show will air on Fox. No word when we'll see it or who will star. And actress Eva Mendes with a birthday today. She's 50. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
WNBF Binghamton.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF. Here's Bob Joseph.
Good morning. It's 46 in downtown Binghamton. It's 6:30. The forecast continued mild today, cloudy, some rain this morning. The high 52. We haven't seen much snow around here over the last couple of months. Some people in California are saying a lot of snow. Plenty of snow. Another storm's coming. Major snow removal project is underway in the mountains of Northern California. Truckee resident Jay Lukes has 15 feet of snow on top of his house right now.
The next step, honestly, if we get another amount of snow like this, I board up my windows.
Can't imagine 15 feet of snow on your roof. From Wall Street to Sesame Street, higher prices are a concern for investors and consumers. ABC's Rhiannon Alley says there's one influential character who is starting to voice his opinion about shrinkflation.
The Cookie Monster has had enough.
Chocolate chip cookie important to me too.
His beef with shrinkflation is getting attention on Capitol Hill after he posted, "Me hate shrinkflation. Me cookies are getting smaller." Senator Sherrod Brown responded, "Me too, Cookie Monster. People in my state of Ohio are fed up. They should get all the cookie they pay for."
And you heard it on WNBF's First News Binghamton, 632. A Broome County man's plan to tear down a house on Court Street in downtown Binghamton is not being embraced by everyone. In fact, it's facing growing scrutiny by a city commission. Philip Akel is seeking permission to demolish the 2-story house across from the Phelps Mansion Museum. Until I started working on this story, I didn't even realize that house was there, but sure enough, there it is next to St. Mary's Church. The building, which in recent years was used as a law office, was acquired by FGR Realty a few days before Christmas for $120,000. It was constructed around 1884. Akel and his representatives showed up before the Commission on Architecture and Urban Design a few weeks ago to talk about the plan to tear down the converted residential building. Space will be turned into a parking lot if he gets his way. The structure stands just east of a 2-story office building, also owned by the Akel family's FGR Realty. And historians might be interested in knowing that that building at Court and J Streets, you could drive by it right now, it once was home to Binghamton's first giant supermarket. It's true. Back in December 1932 is when the place opened up as the first giant. Now houses Guthrie's Binghamton Mental Health Unit. Commission member John Darrow said it seems abhorrent to him that the panel would even consider knocking down another residential structure at a time new housing projects are moving forward nearby. Darrow said he doesn't know why they want to tear something nice down. An attorney representing Akel said it's been estimated it could cost more than $125,000 to make that Court Street building habitable again. We got in touch with Akel Monday afternoon, but he declined to comment on the matter. A suspect's been arrested after an alleged attempted robbery at a Visions Federal Credit Union office in downtown Binghamton. Police were called to the Visions branch in the Metro Center on Court Street late Friday afternoon to check out a report that a woman was trying to rob the place. As the officers arrived at the credit union entrance on the Washington Street pedestrian mall, they spotted the suspect in the incident and quickly detained her. The woman was somewhat belligerent, using some harsh language as police placed her in handcuffs and eventually led her to a van, which transported her directly to the police station on Hawley Street. Investigators and credit union employees were busy Friday afternoon, so they couldn't talk about it. But on Monday, Detective Captain Corey Miner confirmed to WNBF News the woman had been arrested after she allegedly passed a note to an employee stating she had a gun. The woman apparently was unarmed. Miner said 39-year-old Ryan Lawton has now been charged with attempted robbery. She has no permanent address. We have some pictures and video from the scene as police were taking her into custody. It's on our website, WNBF.com. Well, here's something many people have been waiting for. A spot on Binghamton's east side coming back to life right now. In fact, quite literally right now. It's opening up, probably opening its doors officially just 5 minutes ago. Pasquale's Soup and Sandwich Shop, 180 Broad Avenue, is officially opening. Jesus Clark, who already operates a barbecue restaurant on Shenango Street, spotted an opportunity after he heard from a lot of customers who were disappointed when Pasquale's Deli suddenly shut down last October. Clark told us in December about his plans to reopen Pasquale's with some of the most popular offerings. It's not going to be the same, but there will be some similarities. He said he and his team wanted to continue the legacy that had been started by the Pasquale family. So he's been busy over the past several weeks getting ready for just this moment. The new shop is scheduled to operate this week on Tuesday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Mr. Clark is asking customers to be patient during the opening days as he and the staff work out any kinks in the operation. WNBF News Time, 6:36. Here's the forecast from the National Weather Service. Today, rain, cloudy skies. Rain mainly in the morning, the high 52. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain, low 46. Tomorrow, cloudy, rain, mainly in the afternoon, high 57. And mostly cloudy Thursday with a chance of showers in the morning, high 50. Right now, it's 46 in downtown Binghamton at 6:37. I'm Bob Joseph, WNBF News.
So it starts recording?
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
6:39 WNBF with Bob Joseph. Sometimes these stories are just strange, and oh, okay, I won't even mention it. I was going to mention it. It's just too strange at this hour. Maybe I'll mention the story later this morning on Binghamton Now. Even then, I don't know. It's just too strange. I mean, it's sad, and it does need to be reported. By the way, I'm not referring to something that happened around here. If it was something that happened around here, I'd probably mention it, even though it's pretty strange. It's something that happened in New York City. But I know a lot of people will say, well, what do you expect? It's New York City, so people have to expect strange all the time. You've got 8 billion people there, so ultimately you're going to get strange. Well, okay. There you go. But it's too strange to mention at 6:40 in the morning. Here's something I will mention. It's interesting. Just the amount of attention, and I've seen this in upstate New York cities, not so much here in Binghamton, but say places like Syracuse, Rochester, Albany, Buffalo. There seems to be a fascination with people who are on TV, which is understandable. I'm fascinated. I'd like to be on TV, but obviously I'm on radio because, as they say, I have a radio voice. And who wants to see me on TV? You've perhaps seen me on TV. There's no point in me being on TV on a regular basis, but there is this fixation or fascination, I think, in upstate New York, maybe not in Binghamton as much, there's some fascination in Binghamton about people on TV, but in places like Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, they're doing stories all the time about, this person, this anchor quit, or this anchor is going to stay or whatever. So I'm looking this morning at the Syracuse website, and their headline is former Syracuse TV reporter returning to anchor News Channel 9 mornings. And that's one of their big stories this morning at Syracuse.com. Former Syracuse television reporters returning to Central New York to anchor mornings on News Channel 9, which is WSYR. And the TV station says Rachel Polanski has been named the new co-anchor of their morning news program. So that's good. As far as I can see, about the only Binghamton connection with News Channel 9's morning show is the person who does the weather, Kate Thornton. Remember Kate Thornton, who did the weather here in Binghamton at Channel 40 for a time? I'm trying to remember if she did some reporting too. It seems as though she also might have done some reporting when she was at Channel 40. Anyway, she's the meteorologist now at News Channel 9's morning news. And so this anchor who used to be in Central New York, Rachel Polanski, is coming back. And so she'll be on that show with Ryan Dean and meteorologist Kate Thornton. I'm trying to remember. I'm thinking of somebody else, I think, at Fox 40 at the time. But it's interesting. The people who pass through Binghamton, and let's face it, Binghamton, especially for TV news, this is a great place for people to get started in the lucrative world of broadcast journalism. You start in Binghamton, before you know it, you're co-anchoring the Today Show. That's how it works here. Remember how that happened? You go from one day you're on the Vestal Parkway making friends, and then before you know it, you're on the Today Show making friends on a global basis. So a lot of times it all starts here in Binghamton. Anyway, it's broadcast news for you. News Radio. WNBF News Time 6:44. Coming up, we'll have some sports news. And also, in about 10 minutes, Kim Commando with a few thoughts about yet another tech controversy. 6:45 WNBF Sports. Bob Joseph reporting. NBA action last night. Nets lost to Memphis 106-102 in Brooklyn. Hockey action last night in New York. Ryan Lomberg scored the go-ahead goal early in the third period. Sam Reinhart scored twice, and the Florida Panthers beat the New York Rangers 4-2 in a matchup of first-place teams. Also, in the NHL last night, Philadelphia lost to St. Louis in a shootout, 2-1. The police are investigating. Baseball action. It's preseason play, so the games don't mean much, but they give me an opportunity to provide baseball scores. Yankees over Miami, 3-2. Phillies lost to Toronto, 5-2. Pirates over Tampa Bay, 7-3. The Red Sox lost to Detroit, 2-1. Tonight, basketball action on my favorite radio station. The BU men's basketball team will make its annual March trek to Baltimore to face UMBC in the regular season finale. The teams are part of a three-way log jam in fifth place entering the final game. Binghamton, winners of 2 straight and 3 of 4, will carry anywhere from the 5th to the 8th seed into a quarterfinal road game Saturday. A win would give Binghamton the number 5 seed for the upcoming America East tournament and send Binghamton back to Durham for a Saturday quarter at number 4. UNH. The Bearcats have 14 overall wins, most in 15 years since 2008-2009 America East team. That's the title team that won 23. Binghamton finished with a 10-4 home record, but will look to improve its 4-10 road mark. What can you do to hear the game? Well, the simple way would be to drive down to UMBC. If you get started now, you could probably be there easily by the time the game starts at 7 p.m. On the other hand, if you don't want to spend that kind of time and energy going down to UMBC, you can stay home and listen to it on the radio at 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, and streaming at WNBF.com. The complete, comprehensive coverage will be provided starting at 6:45 this evening with WNBF's Roger Neal. And that is the way it is in the world of sports. 6:49, WNBF.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
6:50, Money News on First News Binghamton. Shares are mostly lower in Europe and Asia following a decline on Wall Street. U.S. futures and oil prices also fell. Hong Kong's benchmark sank 2.6% after China's premier said the country's target for economic growth this year is 5%, in line with expectations. On Monday, stocks edged lower on Wall Street at the start of a busy week. The S&P 500 slipped 0.2%. The Dow Jones Industrials also fell 0.2%. Coming up later this week, Fed Chair Jerome Powell is going to speak before Congress. His comments could sway expectations for when the Fed will start cutting interest rates. Lawmakers in at least 7 states are taking big legislative swings to regulate bias in artificial intelligence as AI has spread through everyday life, filtering job resumes, rental apartments, and home loan applications. Studies and lawsuits have found they can discriminate based on race, gender, or more. In the absence of federal regulations, the state bills would require transparency from companies that use AI to make consequential decisions for Americans. American Airlines is ordering 260 planes to meet growing travel demand and increase the airline supply of premium seats. The airline says it will buy 85 planes each from Boeing and from Airbus. In addition, American is ordering 90 smaller planes from a company in Brazil called Embraer. It's the latest in business news on this Tuesday morning. WNBF News Time 6:52. Coming up in a minute, Kim Commando with a tech update.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
6:53 on News Radio WNBF, and I would say now is a good time to find out what's bothering Kim Commando.
If you visited your nearby pharmacy only to find that they cannot fill your prescription, the one that your doctor insisted that you take every day, you're not alone. Pharmacies all across America are in a state of emergency. Who's to blame? I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by Incogni.com. Stop robocalls, spam texts, and more. Get 60% off at Incogni.com with code KIM60. A ransomware gang once destroyed by law enforcement is back, and you may be in danger. Ransomware attacks have paralyzed prescription refills for millions at CVS, Walgreens, Publix, and GoodRx customers who have been forced on the spot to pay hundreds or thousands in cash or go without. I blame the pharmacies, where employees were not given the proper training to see and avoid these dangerous virus-infused emails. Once the email is open, the virus spreads in seconds. The entire system is paralyzed until the ransom's paid. And even then, the system may not be right. Basic email training is the only answer. Just do it. Get my free newsletter right now at getkim.com. Let me tell you, I need to be able to stay connected and have my phone in reach and working all throughout my day. I'm always on the go, whether it's running my business, being there for friends and family across the country, tackling never-ending errands, or researching hot topics for our next chat here on the show. And the list goes on and on. I bet you'd be lost without a solid connection, too. That's exactly why I'm so glad I have T-Mobile. I know I can always count on them no matter where I am. T-Mobile has invested billions to light up America's largest 5G network, from big cities to small towns all across the country. So whether you're on a video call at the park with a client, uploading files at a coffee shop, or streaming your favorite series while waiting for your flight at the airport, you can count on T-Mobile to help keep you connected to what you need, where you need it. So what are you waiting for? Visit your local store or T-Mobile.com to switch today. That's T-Mobile.com.
Coverage not available in some areas. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
And remember, Kim Commando brings you the latest cutting-edge tech world information weekday mornings right here on First News Binghamton. Coming up next hour, Mike Dubosky from ABC will talk about tech trends. And today the focus is on the refreshed MacBook Air. I'll be listening to see if part of the refreshment includes finding a way for it to actually run for at least a year and a half. Here's the forecast from the National Weather Service. Cloudy today, rain mainly in the morning, high 52. Cloudy tonight with a slight chance of rain, low 46. Rain tomorrow, high 57. Right now in downtown Binghamton, it's 46. That's 8 Celsius. You're listening to First News Binghamton. I'm Bob Joseph, in for Don Morgan on your Tuesday morning. WNBF News Time, 6:57.
This is News Radio 1290 AM, WNBF Binghamton. Now on 92.1 FM, W221 EJ Binghamton, a town square.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF. Here's Bob Joseph.
Good morning. We'll have a cloudy day today. Some rain this morning. The high 52. A suspect has been arrested after an alleged attempted robbery at a Visions Federal Credit Union office in downtown Binghamton. Police were called to the Visions branch in the Metro Center at 49 Court Street just about 2:45 Friday afternoon for a report a woman was trying to rob the bank. As officers arrived at the credit union entrance on the Washington Street pedestrian mall, they spotted the suspect in the instant and quickly took her into custody. The woman was somewhat belligerent, yelling at officers as they placed her in handcuffs and eventually leading her to a van which transported her to the station on Hawley Street. Investigators and credit union employees on Friday were not able to talk about the matter, but on Monday afternoon, Detective Captain Corey Miner confirmed to WNBF News the woman had been arrested after she allegedly passed a note to an employee at the credit union stating she had a gun. The woman apparently, though, was unarmed. Miner said 39-year-old Ryan Lawton has been charged with attempted robbery. She has no permanent address. No injuries were reported in that incident. The credit union office was temporarily closed following that robbery attempt. We have some video as well as pictures from the immediate aftermath of that attempted robbery on our website, WNBF.com. Broome County man's proposal to tear down a house on Court Street in downtown Binghamton faces scrutiny now by a city commission. Philip Akel wants permission to demolish the 2-story house across from the Phelps Mansion Museum. The building, which in recent years had been used as a law office, was acquired by FGR Realty in December for $120,000. It was constructed around 1884. Akel and his representatives appeared before the Commission on Architecture and Urban Design a few weeks ago to talk about a plan to tear down the converted residential building. The space would be turned into a parking lot. The structure stands just east of a 2-story office building, also owned by the Akel family's FGR Realty. That building at Court and J once was home to Binghamton's first giant supermarket. It now houses Guthrie's Binghamton Mental Health Unit. Commission member John Darrow said it seems abhorrent that the panel would even consider knocking down another residential structure in Binghamton at a time new housing projects are moving forward nearby. Darrow said, "I don't know why they want to tear something nice down." An attorney representing Akel said it's been estimated could cost more than $125,000 to make the Court Street building habitable again. Akel declined to comment on the matter when contacted by WNBF News. An iconic spot on Binghamton's east side coming back to life today, more than 4 months after a beloved business shocked loyal customers when it suddenly shut down. Pasquale's Soup and Sandwich Shop at 180 Broad Avenue is officially opening this morning. Jesus Clark, who already operates a barbecue restaurant on Shenango Street, spotted an opportunity after hearing from many customers who were disappointed when Pasquale's Deli closed last October. In December, Clark announced plans to reopen Pasquale's with some of its most popular offerings. He said he and his team wanted to continue the legacy that had been started by the Pasquale family. Clark was busy over the past several weeks with the existing Big Zeus barbecue restaurant and working to get things rolling at the sandwich and soup shop. The new shop is scheduled to operate this week from 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Clark is asking customers to be patient during the opening days as he and the new staff work out any kinks in the operation. Online ordering for pickup and delivery should become available within a few weeks. Deposit School District voters have approved 3 propositions that were on the ballot on Monday. The first proposition was for the use of a capital reserve fund for improvements to safety and security features in district buildings. That was passed 103 to 37. The second proposition to establish a new capital reserve fund passed 109 to 31. And the third proposition to permit transportation for all Deposit Elementary students using school vehicles passed 95 to 45. Renovations to Belmont Park are expected to pave the way for the racetrack to host the Belmont Stakes in June 2026. Governor Hochul has unveiled a construction timeline that includes the $455 million project being completed by the fall of 2026. That would allow the Breeders' Cup to return to the remade track as soon as 26, if not long after. Breeders' Cup officials, in a letter to the New York Racing Association, expressed support for the project, even while not committing to an actual year when the event could be returned to Belmont Park. Now the forecast from the National Weather Service. Cloudy today, rain mainly this morning, high 52. Mostly cloudy tonight with a chance of rain, low 46. Cloudy tomorrow, more rain, mainly in the 57. Mostly cloudy Thursday with a chance of showers in the morning, high 50. Right now it's 46 in downtown Binghamton at 7:09. I'm Bob Joseph, WNBF News.
From the Galt Auto Studios, this is WNBF News Radio AM 1290. Also available at 92.1 FM. Save in a big way at Galt Chevrolet.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
It's 7:11 on this Tuesday morning. Bob Joseph in for Don Morgan. This is First News Binghamton. We are here for you. Please make it a daily habit. I know many, if not most of our listeners, routinely check in with WNBF first thing in the morning to have a sense of what's going on in the Binghamton area and beyond. If you're not already doing it as part of your daily habit, we hope you will. Make it a daily habit. That's what it's about. Giving you the information that you need. The local and regional update every half hour, and then national updates every 30 minutes as well, and bulletins at once. It's a live program. Yes, there's really a person here. It's not phoned in. It's not piped in. It's not voice tracked or AI. It's an actual person who actually speaks into a microphone in a place called Binghamton, New York. Imagine that in 2024. We're here for you, and we are glad. Remember, First News Binghamton is on from 6 to 9. Then we have our daily talk show. Today, a program note. The Binghamton Now program, which usually starts after the 9 o'clock news, will start after the 10 o'clock news. All right, just make a note of that. From 9 to 10, Red Eye Radio, the Red Eye guys will be on for 1 hour to offer their take on the world. And then I return and we'll have a 2-hour edition of Binghamton Now on this Tuesday. And my goal is to take as many phone calls as humanly possible. So with your cooperation, who knows, maybe we'll set a new record today. Called the Guinness Book and said, yeah, in a 2-hour local talk show, we managed to squeeze in 490 calls. And I'm sure the people at Guinness Book would say, we don't believe you. Click. Anyway, I hope you'll participate. Look forward to hearing from you later this morning on Binghamton Now. 7:14 coming right up. A look at sports on News Radio WNBF 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com. 7:15. It's time for sports on WNBF. Binghamton men's basketball will make its annual March trek to Baltimore to face UMBC tonight. The regular season finale, you'll hear it live right here on News Radio WNBF, with coverage starting at 6:45 p.m. Roger Neal will have all the action. The teams are part of a 3-way logjam in 5th place entering the final game. Binghamton, winners of 2 straight, and 3 of 4 will carry anywhere from the 5th to the 8th seed into a quarterfinal road game Saturday. A win would give BU the number 5 seed for the upcoming America East tournament and send Binghamton back to Durham for a Saturday quarter at number 4 UNH. The Bearcats have 14 wins, most in 15 years. Binghamton finished with a 10-4 home record, but will look to improve its road mark, which is a rather unsatisfactory 4-10. I don't know if it's unsatisfactory or unsatisfying. Anyway, we'll try to get a win on the road tonight at UMBC. We'll hear it unfold live right here on WNBF 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, and streaming at WNBF.com. Basketball action last night in Brooklyn. The Nets lost to the Grizzlies 106-102. Other NBA winners last night included Milwaukee, Minnesota, Utah, Chicago, and the Lakers. NHL play, Ryan Lomberg scored the go-ahead goal early in the third period. Sam Reinhart scored twice, and the Panthers beat the Rangers 4-2 in New York in a matchup of first-place teams. Also last night in the NHL, the Flyers lost to St. Louis 2-1 in a shootout. And other winners included Boston, Columbus, Colorado, and Seattle. Top 25 college basketball scores. Number 9, Duke defeated North Carolina State 79-64. And number 11, Baylor, beat Texas 93-85. If you're interested in springtime baseball, although it's still winter time, now that I look at the calendar, spring-like baseball, the Yankees over Miami 3-2. And the Mets, I guess the Mets had the day off. Phillies lost to Toronto 5-2. Pirates beat Tampa Bay 7-3. And Detroit over the Red Sox 2-1. And that is the latest from sports. Oh, I think we do have a couple other notes. Oh, a firing. Devils have fired coach Lindy Ruff and named assistant Travis Green as the interim replacement for the rest of the season. General manager Tom Fitzgerald made the move with just over 20 games left to play. And that is the latest in sports. From News Radio, WNBF News Time, 7:19. Good morning, it's 7:20 at WNBF. 46 in downtown Binghamton today. Another mild March day in store for the Binghamton area. A little rainy. We expect a high today of 52. Let's get some money news now from Jim Ryan.
Investors back away from the records they set going into the weekend, and gold prices are at their highest ever. I'm Jim Ryan, ABC News. Those stories are coming up in Wall Street now.
Oh, he's going to make us wait? Okay. All right. Well, I can wait. I can wait 60 seconds. It's called making us wait a minute, so the Wall Street report will seem even more urgent. Jim Ryan will have the money news coming up in 60 seconds.
3. News Radio 1290 WNBF.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Stocks retreated Monday from the records they set going into the weekend. The Dow Jones yesterday dipped 97 points to close at 38,989. The S&P finished lower by 0.12%, the NASDAQ composite by 0.4. Before the opening bell, Target reports its holiday quarter results and year-ahead outlook. Currently number 3 behind Walmart and Costco, Target has posted declining comparable sales for 2 quarters in a row. Precious metals traders are betting that the Federal Reserve will soon start cutting interest rates, or at least in the second half of the year. The gold contract for April gained $30.60 Monday to settle at $21.2630 per ounce, its highest ever. The Free File experiment appears to be paying off. The Internal Revenue Service says use of that program is up nearly 10% from last year. Free File lets taxpayers with an adjusted gross income under $79,000 file a free return through one of 8 IRS partners. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
7:23 at WNBF. It's live, it's local. It's only the best. First News Binghamton. I'm Bob Joseph in for Don Morgan. We're joined now by Karen Sweet O'Neill. This live update is sponsored by KSO Insurance Solutions. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Bob. Double duty today?
It is. It is. They liked my performance in the St. Patrick's Parade so much that they gave me an opportunity to host First News Binghamton. So not only do I host the talk show, but I also have the honor and the privilege of anchoring First News Binghamton, America's fastest growing talk show. Oh, wait, no, that's not true.
No,
anyway,
that's you.
I was going to say Binghamton Now is America's fastest growing and most beloved talk show. But First News Binghamton is in a class by itself.
As are you.
Oh. That's what my kindergarten teacher said. Mrs. Blackwell at Homer Brink, she said, Bob, you ought to be in a class by yourself. And she said,
like
here's the Sun Bulletin. Why don't you go sit in the corner and read silently to yourself while I try to teach these other kids who want to learn?
Isn't that funny that you remember?
I do.
Everybody, it seems like everybody remembers their kindergarten teacher.
Well, she was...
that's forever ago.
Oh, and she was the best.
You know what I mean.
No, it's not really forever, but, sometimes...
Long time.
Yes. And these days, I still love to drive up that little road, the Homer Brink School in beautiful Endwell, and I just say, the memories. I even look at the classroom where they used to hold me in a little cage when it was still legal. And it's like, I'm kidding. You know, people are saying, Bob, did they really hold you in a cage? I mean, even though it's been many years, you still have a case. Why don't you contact an attorney?
No kidding, right?
No,
My
they treated
teacher
me
was
so
Mrs. Goodrich.
Ah,
Calvin Coolidge. Yeah. Nice lady.
Calvin Coolidge. That's one of my favorite schools. It's over on the east side, you know, on Robinson Street.
I know right where it is.
Mm-hmm.
You betcha.
Yeah. No, I love Calvin Coolidge. I love the older schools. You know, call me old-fashioned. There's nothing wrong with the new modern
please.
Structure.
Did you see what they did with MacArthur?
Yeah.
What structure is that? I mean, that is like, it's such an eyesore.
Well, and don't get me started, but then they use this special top secret expensive wood that needs to be specially cleaned for thousands of dollars, and they have to hire some out-of-town contractors to clean it. And, you know, they make excuses. And I know nobody wants to talk about this on the air, but they make excuses why it turns that hideous color and why they have to clean it every couple of years. You know, it's like, I could have told you that.
Who thought that was a good idea?
Well, I know her name, but I'm not gonna mention it on the air.
What? What's wrong with brick?
That's what I was thinking.
I don't understand it.
Brick will last. Brick, look at the schools on Main Street in Binghamton and East Main Street in Endicott. The brick on those schools is over 100 years old. It looks fine.
Right?
Anyway, that's not why you called. You called to give us a preview of tomorrow's weekly segment. What will you talk about tomorrow morning?
Well, we're going to talk about how to be prepared with your family and your loved ones in the event that one of them becomes ill, or maybe they're not ill yet, or anything like that, but just being prepared in the event that they're going to leave us, because there's so much that needs to be done when someone passes away. And the more that you can do beforehand, the less cumbersome it will be, you know, when they do leave. Because let's face it, it's an emotional time, very sad in most cases. And your energy level to get all these things accomplished is not at its best. So the more that we can do up front to prepare, you know, whether it's co-signing, you know, on a checking account, power of attorneys, healthcare proxies, all of these things we're going to talk about, and where, the list of where you tell your children or your loved ones, and in many cases your spouse, because a lot of times they don't know if one spouse was the one that paid all the bills and, you know, managed the checkbook and all of those things, where everything is located and how you access it. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We are at 1708 Vestal Parkway East, up above Plato's Closet and Style Encore. You can reach us several ways for an appointment. You can simply just give us a call at 607-772-4898, or you can Google us at KSO Insurance, and all our contact information comes up, including our website, or if you missed the phone number, just go to a phone book. We have a big display ad under insurance in the Yellow Pages.
And Karen Sweet O'Neill, will hear from you tomorrow morning here on WNBF. Hope you have a great day.
I hope you do, too. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. 7:29 coming up, a news update.
WNBF Binghamton.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF. Here's Bob Joseph.
Good morning. It's 46 in downtown Binghamton. It's 7:30. The forecast, cloudy today, some rain this morning, the high 52. Voters are heading to the polls in 15 states. Today is called Super Tuesday. Former President Donald Trump is hoping to close out the Republican primary. Here's ABC News senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott with what to expect.
Trump and Haley do not have any scheduled events today. Haley has always vowed to stay in the race through Super Tuesday, but she has not outlined her plans beyond that. And of course, even if she does pull off an upset in one or two states today, it would not be enough to stop Donald Trump. He has all the momentum.
Gas prices going up. generally 10 cents on average over the past week across the U.S. Average price nationwide now $3.35 a gallon, and some prices are up far more than that. We get the explanation from ABC's Alex Stone.
Every year at this time, it starts to hurt a little bit when you fill up, because this is the time prices typically rise annually, except for anomalies like during the pandemic. It's when spring break travel begins to drive demand. Refineries often do their maintenance coming out of super cold weather, when they have to switch over to more expensive summer blends anyway, and oil prices have been up. The end result is we as drivers pay more. In California, prices are up 21 cents a gallon in the past week.
WNBF News Time, 7:32. A Broome County man's proposal to tear down a Court Street house in downtown Binghamton is facing scrutiny by the Commission on Architecture and Urban Design. Philip Akel is seeking permission to demolish the two-story house across from the Phelps Mansion Museum. The building was acquired by FGR Realty in December for $120,000. It was constructed around 1884, and now the plan is to tear it down and use the space for a parking lot. Akel and his representatives appeared before the commission in February to discuss their plan to tear down the converted residential building. The structure stands just east of a two-story office building that's also owned by the Akel family's FGR Realty. That building at Court and J Streets once was home to Binghamton's first giant supermarket. Now it is housing Guthrie's Binghamton Mental Health Unit. Commission member John Darrow said he thinks it's a bad idea to tear down what appears to be a perfectly good house. He said he doesn't even understand why the panel would consider knocking down or giving approval to knock down another residential structure at a time that new housing projects are moving forward nearby. An attorney representing Akel said it's been estimated it could cost as much as $125,000 or even more to get that building on Court Street back in shape. For his part, Akel declined to comment on the matter when he was contacted by WNBF News Monday afternoon. Voters in Deposit have approved 3 propositions for the school district. First proposition was for the use of the capital fund to make a maximum of $600,000 in improvement for safety and security features in the district. Second proposition establishes a new capital reserve fund. And the third proposition was to allow transportation for all Deposit elementary students. All 3 propositions easily passed. WNBF News Time, 7:34. Quick action by Binghamton cops brought a suspect in an attempted bank robbery into custody fast. It happened at the Visions Federal Credit Union office at 49 Court Street in downtown Binghamton. It's in the Metro Center. The police were called at about 2:45 Friday afternoon because they were told a woman was trying to rob the place. As officers arrived at the credit union entrance on the Washington Street pedestrian mall, they spotted the suspect and detained her. The woman was somewhat belligerent as the police placed her in handcuffs and then led her to a van which transported her to the station on Hawley Street, where she was charged. Detective Captain Corey Miner tells WNBF News the woman was arrested after she allegedly passed a note to an employee stating she had a gun. The woman apparently, though, was unarmed. Miner said 39-year-old Ryan Lawton has been charged with attempted robbery. No injuries reported. We have some pictures and video of that whole thing on our website, WNBF.com. New York City has nearly resolved a massive backlog in government food and cash assistance benefits that prompted local groups to take legal action last year. The trouble reached a peak last summer with more than 50,000 pending applications for benefits. Mayor Eric Adams now says 97% of the applications have been processed or resolved. The mayor said that leaves about 400 applications for food assistance and about 1,100 applications for cash assistance that still need to be reviewed. The delays had prompted the Legal Aid Society and other groups to file a contempt of court motion against New York City in December. WNBF News Time, 7:36. Now the forecast from the National Weather Service, still mild as we proceed with the first week of March. Rain today, cloudy skies, high 52. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a slight chance of rain, low 46. Tomorrow, cloudy, rain, mainly in the afternoon, high 57. And mostly cloudy Thursday with a chance of showers in the morning, Thursday's high 50. Right now, it's 46 in downtown Binghamton at 7:37. I'm Bob Joseph, WNBF News.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
7:38 at WNBF. Good morning. I'm Bob Joseph, your host, or some would say facilitator, for the local talk show called Binghamton Now. Listen to this. Already getting my topicality lined up for today's program. By the way, today's program will be a special 2-hour episode. So for those who tune in after the 9 o'clock news, after you've had your coffee and crumpets, and expect to hear Binghamton Now, I advise you, you will not hear the start of the program at its usual time today. Instead, during the 9 o'clock hour, Red Eye Radio will be on here on WNBF. And then, after the 10 o'clock news, we will commence with Binghamton Now. So 2 hours, but we'll have plenty of time for your phone calls. If you're one of those people who has thoughts that you wish to share with the Binghamton area and the rest of the world at 92.1 FM and 1290 AM, as well as on the WNBF app, don't worry, I'll give you sufficient time to make your point. If you have a point, you can call in today from 10 to noon, right here on News Radio, WNBF. Just learning some new information about a plane crash. Hadn't really paid attention to the details, but it happened last night in Nashville near Interstate 40. And according to the news reports, 5 people who were on board a small plane died. According to this account by Naomi Shannon in the Washington Post, the pilot was given clearance to make an emergency landing at an airport in Nashville after he reported engine trouble at about 7:40 last night, about 12 hours ago. Nashville police spokesman Don Aaron said the plane crashed 3 miles south of the airport. Video seen on social media showed the small plane engulfed in flames and smoke after it crashed in a grassy area just off Interstate 40 in Nashville. Witnesses reported seeing the plane obviously in distress as it was coming over the interstate. NTSB and FAA are investigating. And a section of Interstate 40 was closed after the crash. So, one of those mysteries. It's interesting to me, and I know people say, of course it's interesting to you, everything's interesting to you, but I find it fascinating how safe commercial aviation is in the U.S. and the world. If you look at the overall record of commercial aviation over the last decade or so, or even the last 2 or 3 decades, commercial aviation really is safe. When you look at how many millions of people are safely transported on scheduled flights domestically and around the world, the safety record is something to be in awe of. Now, I'm not discounting the catastrophes. There occasionally are aviation catastrophes, and they're all well covered and well documented. But still, given just the sheer number, the volume of arrivals and departures, especially at some of the very busiest airports. You look at airport operations in the morning, and peak hours in the afternoon and evening at places like JFK and LAX and BGM. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing just how much gets done and how safe the system is. But having said that, it's also somewhat disturbing the number of fatal crashes that happen involving small planes in this country. And sometimes they're planes that involve just the pilot, or maybe a pilot and a co-pilot, or as was the case in Nashville last night, 5 people were on board. So the number of people who are injured or who sometimes die when a small plane crashes, those numbers are relatively small, and so a lot of those crashes don't receive lots of national attention. But still, you look at the record, and there's something wrong, in my opinion, something wrong with an aviation system that isn't paying more attention to dealing with the less than stellar record of the smaller aircraft, including some people. This is the topic of a future program, I'm afraid. Some of these people who are doing social media platforms. They're spending more time doing things for social media than actually flying the plane. And there have been some of those cases that have involved tragic endings. So anyway, if you're going to take a flight today, a commercial flight, don't worry about it because everything is going to end well. On the other hand, if you're taking a private plane, or even better, a private jet, make sure you know your pilot and make sure that she's had sufficient rest and sufficient training. 7:44. This is First News Binghamton on WNBF. $7:45. This is Bob Joseph. Speaking of sports, tonight WNBF presents Binghamton University men's basketball. Coverage begins at 6:45 with Roger Neal from UMBC. The men make their annual March trek to Baltimore. So it'll be a great game. It's the regular season finale, and you'll hear all the coverage live from Chesapeake Arena. Again, that'll start at 6:45 tonight, less than 11 hours from now, here on News Radio WNBF. Tune in and hear it all in living color on 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, and streaming at WNBF.com. College basketball last night, number 9 Duke over North Carolina State, 79-64. Number 11 Baylor beat Texas 93-85. NBA last night, Nets lost to Memphis 106-102 in Brooklyn. The NHL, there was a shootout. Nobody was injured. St. Louis over Philadelphia 2-1 in a shootout. Also, the Rangers lost in New York to Florida 4-2. Baseball. The Boston Red Sox lost to Detroit 2-1. The Yankees got past Miami 3-2. Pittsburgh over Tampa Bay 7-3, and the Phillies lost to Toronto 5-2. The Mets had the day off. Jason Kelce has retired after 13 seasons with the Eagles. Kelce called it quits. The 36-year-old ended a career in which he became not only one of the great centers of his era, who played a key role in the Eagles' lone Super Bowl championship, but became a beloved Philly personality. I think he was even better loved than those cheesesteaks at that one place. He also is a popular podcast host. Kelce was a 6th-round pick in the 2011 draft. He ended his career by making 156 straight starts, and he earned 6 All-Pro selections. He said it was always a goal to play his whole career in one city. He played 193 regular season games for the Eagles, and we wish Jason Kelce the very best in retirement. In the NFL, the Broncos told Russell Wilson they're going to release him next week, just 18 months after signing the quarterback to a 5-year, $242 million contract extension. Wilson went 11-19 in Denver. He had an awful first season under Nathaniel Hackett, but bounced back last season under Sean Payton. However, Payton benched Wilson for the final 2 games of the season. Wilson is 35, and he's entering his 13th NFL season in 2024. It's the latest in sports from News Radio, WNBF News Time, 7:49.
WNBF.
It's 7:50 at WNBF. Time for money news. Shares are mostly lower in Europe and Asia following a decline on Wall Street. U.S. futures and oil prices also fell. Hong Kong's benchmark sank 2.6% after China's premier said the country's target for economic growth this year is about 5%. Lawmakers in at least 7 states are taking big legislative swings to regulate some bias in artificial intelligence as AI has quietly spread through everyday life, filtering job resumes, rental apartment, and home loan applications. Studies and lawsuits have found they can discriminate based on race, gender, or more. So in the absence of federal regulation, the state bills would require transparency from companies that use artificial intelligence to make consequential decisions for Americans, including how AI figures into the determinations and the risk of discrimination in its assessments. The Biden administration is moving to cap credit card late fees at $8. It's the latest effort in the White House push to end what it has called junk fees, and is a move that regulators say will potentially save Americans up to $10 billion a year. It's the latest money news on this Tuesday morning. WNBF News Time, 7:52. It's Tuesday morning, WNBF Tech Time, 7:53. It's time for Tech Trends with Mike Dabosky.
From ABC News Tech Trends, Apple is refreshing its most popular laptop, the MacBook Air.
The main new thing is new chips. Apple has finally brought over the M3 chips, which debuted on the MacBook Pros.
Engadget's Devinder Hardawar says it amounts to a modest improvement over the old M2 processor.
They say there's an approximate performance increase of 17% in single-core tasks and 21% in multi-core tasks. And multi-core is like if you're doing a big video editing job or something, you're really testing your computer.
That means, he says, these new MacBook Airs are aimed at people looking to upgrade older laptops.
If somebody has an M1 MacBook Air or even one of the older Intel models, that makes these machines a more compelling bump. If you have an M2 MacBook Air, you don't need to upgrade. Like, this is not for you.
The 13-inch M3 Air starts at $1,100. The 15-inch goes for $1,300. But Hardawar says those are just the base models.
You're going to be planning to live with these computers for a couple of years. I would definitely recommend bumping up the storage, bumping up the RAM as best you can.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dabosky, ABC News.
Guy's optimistic. You're planning to live with these computers for a couple of years. Well, based on my experience, maybe about 15 or 16 months. See, that's, to me, there is the rub. If you spend thousands of dollars on new technology and it's only going to work for about 16 months, yeah, I can't justify that. But if they provide that same level of technology for thousands of dollars and guarantee it'll work for 5 years, yeah, I'll buy some of that. I would. But it's 2024, folks. Things are built the way they're built. Coming up in just a moment, we'll have a look at our weather forecast right here on First News Binghamton at News Radio WNBF.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
7:56 at WNBF, 4 minutes away from ABC with the latest national and world update. Here's your forecast from the National Weather Service. Our mild March weather continuing for at least a few more days. Cloudy today, rain mainly in the morning, high 52. Mostly cloudy tonight with a slight chance of rain, low 46. Cloudy tomorrow, some rain in the afternoon, high 57, and mostly cloudy Thursday with a chance of showers in the morning, high 50. Right now, in downtown Binghamton, it's 46. That's 8 Celsius. At News Radio, WNBF, WNBF.com. Well, here's another fine story, and this is from the Post of New York. It says a former live-in Queens handyman has refused to leave the $2 million home where he once worked for several years, leaving the rightful property owners out in the cold, and it's totally legal. This story is by Jorge Fitzgibbon at the Post of New York. The guy's name is Brett. Of course it is. He can't get evicted from this place in New York City. And if you look at the story in the Post of New York, at least the website, they say it's legal. The reason is a curious legal loophole that gives would-be trespassers the right to stay put if they only stay in a property long enough to claim legal residency. That's squatters' rights, adverse possession under the law. So just be careful, because I'm not saying this will happen to you, but well, let's face it, if it happens to you and somebody is squatting in your place, it's not fun. According to the story, in New York State, someone who's lived on a property for at least 10 years can claim a legal right to remain on the property without the owner's permission. Well, there you go. 7:59 at WNBF.
This is News Radio 1290 AM, WNBF Binghamton. Now on 92.1 FM, W221 EJ Binghamton, a town square.